Hey guys, on this week's Game Chat, we'll be reviewing the Order 1886, talking about Nintendo news, Kanye news, and we have our new segment solely focused on bad games. Stay tuned because Game Chat starts right now.
Ready at Dawn Studios' The Order 1886 is the biggest PlayStation exclusive of this year. The game follows Galahad, a member of an ancient order that was founded by King Arthur back in the medieval times to defend the humans from the werewolf threat referred to as lichens. Starting off, The Order 1886 is probably the best looking game I've ever played in my life. The Victorian era setting is very well realized, and the inclusion of references to real people like Conan Doyle, Jack the Ripper, and Nikola Tesla all make this alternate history feel like a real place. The lighting, the mood, and the atmosphere is very filmic, and the widescreen aspect ratio only adds to the cinematic experience. But this is where the problems start with The Order. It's not a film, but it very much wants to be. To say the game has a lot of cutscenes is an understatement. The amount of cutscenes itself is not inherently a problem. Games like Heavy Rain and Telltale games pull them off really well, but what this game suffers from is bad pacing. There's no real rhythm between gameplay and scene, and you never really know when you're going to play. When you do eventually play, it's fine, but not exceptionally great. The gunplay is fun, and there are some cool weapons like the lightning gun, but it's nothing we haven't seen time and time again by other games that do it better. And when you're not shooting anything, you're usually walking around for 2 minutes, picking up random objects until you reach another cutscene. It feels really uninspired. The story of the game is interesting at times, and the voice acting is outstanding, but I overall didn't really care about what happened. The ending isn't really satisfying, but clearly alludes to a sequel that will theoretically tie up all the loose ends. Overall, The Order 1886 isn't a bad game. There's nothing technically wrong with it, there's no real glitches, and it runs well, but other than its visuals, there's nothing all that great about it. It's not a long game, but there's little incentive to want to play it again. I'd recommend picking up when it's a lower price, or borrowing it from a friend just to try it out. Stay tuned for more on The Order in our discussion with Dan and Charles.
Sad news for Nintendo fans across the world. The company's loyalty rewards program, Club Nintendo, is shutting down. After 12 years of rewarding fans with limited edition swag and other exclusives, the program is shutting down July 1st. Current members can still register games and redeem coins until June 30th for some interesting limited edition items. As a last hurrah, Club Nintendo is offering limited edition posters, puzzles, a calendar, and a Majora's Mask messenger bag, along with a whopping 118 downloadable titles for 3DS and Wii U. Rumor has it that a new loyalty program will appear sometime next year. Here's to hoping its rewards are as great as Grill Off with Ultra Hand.
In another step to take over media as we know it, Kanye West has announced that he has been working on a video game dedicated to his mother and based off the song Only One. Kanye West was on the Breakfast Club radio show when he gave this announcement. The game will have players meeting West's mother at the pearly gates of heaven and have to guide her to the highest gates by keeping her close to the light. Kanye West says he's been working on it for like 6 months. It's good to see him following in the footsteps of his wife after her successful mobile game, Kim Kardashian, Hollywood. Only time will tell if it becomes the next game of the year.
Today we're going to be talking about The Order 1886. I had my review already, but we're going to have some second opinions with Charles and Dan. So, what did you think of the game, Dan?
I thought it was great visually. I really loved how it looked. I mean, the whole feel of it was very, very nice. I like the alternate history type thing they were trying to roll with. It really showed a lot of what the next gen was capable of visually. My one big detractment of it is that it was really cinematic heavy, almost too much. The game is very short to begin with, and then on top of that, to have the majority of it sort of just be watching and you can't really skip cutscenes, to then have minimal gameplay was kind of a detractment from that. But I mean, gameplay was fine with what it was. It was entertaining, it was a good story. I just think a little bit more gameplay would have been ideal for me.
Yeah, from what I said in my review, is the cutscenes were fine, but if they were better paced, like between gameplay and cutscene, they would have, like if there was more of a flow, then it would be better. Because other games do a lot of cutscenes well, but they have better pacing, I think.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I personally didn't care. I loved the game. I did pay $80 for it, so I have to say I love the game.
He's not paid.
But no, I've been waiting kind of for a game that I can just sit back and relax and play. I don't have to micromanage, like, okay, this is where my upgrade tree goes, everything. I could just watch a cutscene, and then, okay, here's some minimal gameplay, and then back into a cutscene. I love that, actually.
yeah, I like that kind of game too. It's like something like Uncharted or something,
Yeah.
like a very like cinematic, straightforward game.
Exactly, but that's not what they advertised though. That's my only gripe. They advertised
Yeah.
a nice like action, story-driven game, and it's just cutscene, cutscene, cutscene.
The way they really made it seem was kind of like it was supposed to be essentially like a PlayStation version of Gears of War, but with the alternate history, like we
Yeah.
talked about, and sort of just fighting a bunch of monsters. And while yeah, you do that, I think there wasn't really enough of that to really solidify it as just even a shooter game. I mean, they say it's cinematic adventure, which I guess is fair. It was just, I don't know. I do agree with that. It is casual, but I don't know. I would have liked it.
Yeah, I guess a problem like they have is like they don't know what their game is really, or they don't know what to say about it, because like it could be like a cinematic game like Heavy Rain, or it could be like a shooter, and it's somewhere in between that doesn't make anyone happy from either like genre fans.
Yeah, I think if the game is $60 and it's a 5-hour game, the fact that on YouTube right now there's a video of all cutscenes that's about 3 hours and 20 minutes, if that's the majority of the game is just at that point, just make it a movie. I mean, I think that was kind of it. I don't know if it was necessarily worth the price of retail for it. I think if it was a little cheaper instead of the full 60, maybe it would have been a little better. It just seems like a lot to ask of people to give, to then sort of give them what we got.
It was definitely too expensive for what they were asking for. I know I paid a little extra than some people, but I think $40 would have been perfect for that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so that's all we have to say about the Order 1886 in Chat and Games. This is me, Charles, and Dan. I'll see you guys next time.
Championship Jockey, G1 Jockey, and Gallop Racer. Now I love bad games, and when I walked into the GameStop and saw the cover, I just XD'd right there. I just had to have it. Now when I got home, it was a different story. Freaking see that shit? This is the most intricate horse racing game I have ever laid my hooves on. It's like someone crossbred Final Fantasy and horses. Championship Jockey has deep strategy elements such as classes of horses and a weather system. The game is actually not that bad. It's just not interesting. If you're not interested in horse racing, which about 90% of us aren't, then you're not going to have a good time. The game's controls are nothing to brag about either. After a deep game sesh, all I ended up doing was hitting the horse to death. So all in all, it's not the worst game, but if you ever get the opportunity to play it, say nay.